Welcome to the Clemson Dubcast, Saturday morning. Beautiful Saturday morning, February 6th. Clemson basketball getting ready to take on Syracuse. Got a column up on TigerIllustrated.com right now. Were the 4 meltdowns by the basketball team indicative of them just not being very good? Or was it maybe indicative of just the general weirdness of this year that we've seen in a lot of other areas? Not sure if anybody knows the answer to that right now, but we're going to start learning more in very short order starting this afternoon against the Orange. Title sponsor of the Dubcast since the very beginning, back in August of 2018, Parham Smith & Archenhold Law Firm in downtown Greenville. They want you to know that their office remains open and available to serve you during the COVID-19 crisis. They are also offering their clients the ability to meet via telephone or through video conferencing. Whether you have a loved one who has suffered from a car accident, defective product, a neglectful nursing home facility, or medical malpractice issue, Parham Smith & Archenhold's Greenville lawyers can provide the protection and guidance you need. Free consultations, 864-990-4581, or on the web at parhamlaw.com. That's Parham law.com. If you're in the Eastern Midlands and PD area and you're in any way interested in buying and selling a home, commercial property, land, need to consider reaching out to Uptown Realty. They're based out of Sumter and run by a friend of mine, Patrick Enzer, big Clemson guy, used to cover the Tigers in a newspaper capacity, longtime supporter of Tiger Illustrated, longtime listener to the Dubcast. The home buying process should be an enjoyable experience, so let Patrick and his staff do all the heavy lifting. All you got to do is pick up the phone and call 803-774-0435 or go to uptownrealtysc.com. Celero Communications, formerly known as Tandem Payment, is a full-service integrated electronic payments provider powered by leading-edge technology. Celero provides a wide array of merchant solutions, simplified payments. They make onboarding, taking payments, maintaining risk management and compliance, and getting support quick and easy. At Celero, they're all about helping you achieve sustainable growth as a business. Taking payments isn't the only thing your business needs. With Celero's solutions, you can manage inventory, sell products and services via social media, schedule staff, track sales, get reports, and much, much more. Find out more about Celero at celerocommerce.com. That's CELERO commerce.com. Okay, to our interview with DeShawn Williams, former Clemson Tiger, current NFL player. We want to learn more about some of the misgivings that he and his other 3 Daniel High alums who are current NFL players have about whether they're being properly recognized by their former high school. Just a disclaimer here, I don't have a firm opinion on this because I'm not plugged in enough to the situation to really have an opinion, but I do think the least that the involved parties and everyone else in this community can do is listen to what they have to say. So that's what the purpose of this is. We're going to learn more about that issue plus a bunch of other stuff. Really deep conversation here with DeShawn Williams. Here we go. All right, joined by DeShawn Williams, former Clemson Tiger, former Daniel High football player, also current NFL football player. How you doing, man?
Good. How you doing?
Doing well. I guess we can cut to the chase right now and just sort of talk about the topic of the day. I guess on social media, I guess today and recently, some I guess maybe misgivings, I guess, for lack of a better word, about the Clemson community, Clemson Central community overall, and I guess the Daniel High community in particular. Maybe the feeling is not enough having been done to sort of recognize and celebrate the 4 current NFL Daniel and Clemson alums. Can you maybe flesh that out a little bit? Just sort of share your more extended thoughts, like I guess as we're starting here.
Yeah, my take on it is just, it's not like, for people that want to know what's going on, like, it's not the people that's in Clemson and Central. Like, we're totally, like, we love, like, where we come from. So it's not the people. The people know that we really care about them. Our community know that we love them and they love us back. And I think they have our back on this topic. It's just, the topic is just, it's just that we feel like, well, yeah, we all feel like, and I'm speaking out on it. It's just, we feel like we're not getting recognized for what something that has done in the little small town of Central, and don't nobody really know, or we're not getting how can I put it? Like, we're not getting our flowers, or we're not getting, like, the notarized, like, what what we done. Like, it's just, you don't see too many guys that have 4 guys, like, back to back to back to back, make it to the NFL out of one high school, like out of one little small town of Central and Clemson. Like, you don't see that. And we just feel like Daniel High School, not Central or Clemson, but we just feel like Daniel High School hasn't done their job of, like, doing that towards us. And we just, I think now we just taking a stand on it.
All right, let's maybe, I guess there's a lot to sort of unpack with that. And when you say we, of course, you're talking about Nuke Hopkins, yourself, Jarvis, Jenkins, and Shaq Lawson. And you guys, I'm assuming, communicate regularly, and it sounds like, even though I haven't spoken to the other 3, that y'all have solidarity on this enough to where you're speaking out for the group. Is that putting it accurately?
Yeah, it's pretty much, this is just short and sweet. It's just, we done something that no other high school in Pickens County. The only school that I know of that done that is probably South Point. You got Jadavion, you got Stephon Gilmore. You got a couple guys that played in the league over there at South Point, and you got Greenwood. And I'm pretty sure they got something in their name. When they go back home, they can show their kids or their family when they go back. When you go to Daniel or the Central area, you don't have no home of Shaq, Jarvis, DeAndre, and myself. Like, you don't have none of that. And when you go to Daniel, like, none of our pictures or our jerseys or nothing is, like, in Daniel. And I told one of the coaches there that's working there, and I texted him, I said, it's crazy how I get, like, Coach Sweeney has done more, like, gave me more recognition of us 4, than our own high school. Go to that nice facility they have our pictures up on the wall. Like, we have our own wall, with our pictures on it in position groups. At Daniel, it's like none of that. So it's just sad, like, for me to have to say it, but it's just sad that, I'm getting more recognition of my college and then my own high school where I'm born and raised.
Just playing devil's advocate here. I guess the argument could be, the football program is obviously flush with a lot of cash to the point where they can build a $65 million football facility and where they can showcase their former NFL players for recruits, whereas Daniel certainly not in that type of situation as far as resources go. Is that a valid question or maybe response to in your mind?
No, it's really not, because they've been stringing this along, like when we used to do the camps and things like that. This is before, I think this is after when Coach Rob left. We used to ask him, like, when are we going to get, They were like, oh, you got to wait 10 years. And the thing, like, Jarvis his 10 years is past. He's way past 10 years. DeAndre is past 10 years. I'm 10 years this year. And Shaq is like a couple more years. So it's like, I don't get it. Like, they try to string it along, saying, like, they're going to get it right. And I just feel like it's a bunch of BS to me. Like, I just feel like you could have been made this right. Because, my former coach, he said that he was going to then retire our number. And it's like now, I'm not trying to point nobody out, but it's just kind of funky, like, when people, when the staff change and, you get a new AD and things are not running like the Daniel way, like, it's not the same Daniel no more. So it's just, that's all I can say about it.
Well, what do you mean by that? It's not the same. It's not run the same way.
It's just, I can't really go too deep into it, but it's not the same Daniel no more. And people that know what I'm talking about, when they hear this, they'll know exactly what I mean. But it's just not the same Daniel no more.
So are you for talking specifically about retired jerseys, Hall of Fame, or are you talking about a more general recognition and celebration of what you have done?
I think it's a little bit, it's all the above, to be honest with you, because, like, the Hall of Fame is a great honor. Like, I cannot, like, I won't discredit that, but it's just, there's, like, a lot of great players that are in the Hall of Fame, like, but none of those players have done what we did. Like, you have 4 guys that went to the same middle school, played the same rec team, went to the same high school, same college, and we all made it and playing, and God has blessed us to play at the highest level, and it's like nothing is shown for it. And then with the jersey retire, it's just, I just want to give the kids something like, it's like different, to hear it, because we come home like, once or twice a year when we have time with our busy schedule. It's cool for us when we come home, we can tell the kids, do the right things, get your grades, work hard. But when you like see like a DeAndre Hopkins or a Jarvis, Jenkins or a Shaq, Lawson, and myself jersey hanging up, like where you go to school, like they give you motivation, like, okay, those 4 made it out, I can make it out. And it's just crazy that like nothing has been like, I've been out of high school just going on 10 years and nothing has, but you get a guy that wins the national championship at their college, and then they throw a whole parade for them and retire their jerseys and stuff like that. But it's just like, what do we have to do to get the to get recognized for what 4 guys have done? And that probably might not happen ever again. So who knows?
Yeah, I got earlier today, I got a text from Russ Abear, who is he is the chair of the Daniel Athletic Hall of Fame. He has been so since 2013. What he said was the Hall of Fame has really strict guidelines. You have to be out of Daniel 10 years to be eligible. So the only one of that group is Jarvis, and they put him in the Hall of Fame in his first year of eligibility. Nuke is now eligible, but we went to an every other year induction ceremony, and of course COVID was this past year. DeShawn is just now eligible, and we have not even started to vote, and he has not been nominated. Shaq has a few years remaining before he could be eligible. And then he says that Daniel High School has only 1 retired jersey ever, and that was Pistol Pete Maravich. He said, we're looking into a process on how we might retire jerseys, but never a number. So what is any of that news to you, or have you pretty much heard most of that?
No, like I heard like all the 10-year wait and blah, 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 but why should we have to get voted in? Like it's a no-brainer. Like you have 4 guys that made it out of Central, went to the same high school, and did a huge accomplishment. Like I'm pretty sure didn't nobody think like us 4. Yeah, we was talented enough to make it to college, but I'm pretty sure they didn't think, oh, we're going to have 4 guys make it to the NFL. And I just feel like it's a lot of BS going on. And like for me, like we're always going to like do what's right for the kids. That's what I want to like talk about. Like this is nothing to do with the kids. Nothing to do with the community of the people that's living in Central and Clemson. This all has to do with Daniel High School. And it's just bad, like, your own, treating you this way. And it makes you feel like a certain way when you, like, go back home.
What does it feel like?
It just feel like all our hard work is not, like, we don't have nothing to show for it. Like, it's just... Like, we don't have a key to the city. We don't have, like, our own day like these other athletes do. We don't have the record, like the honors or anything like that. Like, we don't have nothing to our name in Central, like, where we came from. Like, this, like, I want to say, like we're like your sons. Like, we came from here, and we work hard and made it better than what it is now, but it's just like we don't have nothing to it. So it just feels like I kind of feel like I'm happy to be from Central. Like I love being from Central. Can't nobody tell me otherwise. But it's like Daniel is like it's just not showing like what they say. Like they say they love us. They say they appreciate us. Like when we give money back to the schools or we throw camps, for free. But I just feel like they're not doing nothing in return.
And I guess putting two and two together, this has been something that y'all have, and tell me if I'm wrong here, obviously, but this has been something y'all have been talking about amongst yourselves privately, the four of you, for quite some time, and that now you feel like to try to create the action or reaction that you want, I guess, some change that now you feel like maybe you need to make it public. Am I getting that right?
No, it's just we've been said something to them about it, and they'd be like, "Oh, you just gotta wait 10 years." But I think it coming from me because I'm the one, I'm the quiet one. I don't speak. I just work hard, keep my head down, and just go on about my business. But when it's coming from the quietest one in the group, the most humblest one and the one that a lot of people don't talk about, And when I said something, it started an uproar, and I'm glad it did because this is like something that's long overdue. Like you said, you have Pistol Pete jersey retired. Every right to do that, but we are doing the same thing that he did when he made it to the highest level. And why not? You know what I mean? And DeAndre Hopkins, he's a future Hall of Famer. He's going to be one. So, and you have three other guys that's talented enough. Obviously, we still in the NFL doing what we love to do. We made it to the highest level. We are one of those 1%ers that made it out of Central. And we don't have nothing to, honor our name. So it's just, to me, I feel like it's just a slap in the face, I can really say.
Is it enough of a slap in the face that, Daniel just won a state title under this new regime? Is it enough of a slap in the face where did you even watch? Did you follow the team this year during such their great season?
No, I always, like I said, this has nothing to do with the kids. I'm going to support the kids no matter what because I was once in their shoes.
This has nothing to do with the kids because, I want them to know that we are here and we can give y'all guidance whenever you do. We still talk to the team. We do motivational videos for them when they went to state. I'm happy that they won it, because they did something that we couldn't do. And we was probably a more talented team. And I'm happy that they got that monkey off their back and won state. But it's just, this has everything to do with the people that's running Daniel, not the kids at all.
And when you say that your sort of public words have caused an uproar, what do you mean? What specifically, what kind of reaction has it caused so far?
It's crazy because we get a lot of people, a lot of people are saying the same thing that I'm saying. How do they not have done this already? We have other people at other schools. I had a lady that just tweeted, said that she's from Seneca. And she said that I agree 100% with the message that you said. How can they not have done that? I promise you, if we would have played at Seneca or Easley, Pickens, or somewhere else, our jersey would have been retired. Because it never, because this is something that's never happened in Daniel history. You have four guys that made it out of the NFL back to back to back to back. And it's just crazy.
I don't think it's happened much in high school football history anywhere.
Yeah, it's just, why are we not getting, it's just, I don't know. It's just a lot to say, but I just feel like we are just let down. Not as, I want to say the community and us four, we feel like we're let down that we're not getting, the recognition that the school has not given us.
I guess still speaking for the group, do you think if there were that recognition that the group would be more inclined to give even more to its to the Daniel football program in various ways?
To be honest, if they did, I think it wouldn't have changed how because we still, like I said, we still give money. Jarvis gave money for the uniforms that they wore when they wore black uniforms. Jarvis did that. Nuke did the pants. We all chipped in for the weight room thing, like to give them like weights and stuff. And Shaq, he done way a lot for the community, giving the scoreboard to Central Rec. He giving money when we do the camp back to Daniel. So we're always going to give back to where we came from and to the school, but it's just, where's that in return?
Yeah. I was just speaking mainly not what's happened to date, but moving forward, if that recognition did come, do you think that you guys would be more inclined to do even more, just sort of theoretically?
To be honest, I don't know, because we're still going to do our thing with the camp. If this COVID thing passed, and we're still gonna do right was for the kids. Like this has nothing to do, like, with the kids and everything like that. Shoot, to me, I just feel like it ain't Daniel no more. Like I said, I can't bring my kid home and be like, hey, this is the school that your dad went to, because that's not the same Daniel. And if I would have brought my child to inside the school, there's nothing in it that has like our name to it. Like I can't show like, hey, look at your pop's accomplishments. Like, look, and then give my child that motivation to be like, oh, my dad was, he was nice in high school. But like I said, we get more recognition from our college coaches than high school.
Have you heard from anybody over there who has said, hey man, why are you being so vocal about this? Let's handle this in-house. Like, is there any sentiment coming from that way?
No, not one bit. They reached out and we talked, but I just told them, like, there's really nothing to talk about. Y'all been dragging this on for a long time, and I get it. The rules are the rules, but there's something that can be done. That's how I feel. Like, it's just, man, I just feel like, shoot, we might not get something till we like 40 or retired out of football. So I just feel like you don't have to wait. You don't have to wait like till somebody is old to give them, their flowers. Like, why not give them their flowers while they're young? Like, I just don't understand it. But, like I said, I'm not going to hold my breath on it. I'm still going to do what's right for the community. Like, man, I love where I came from. Like, it made me to what I am, like a blue collar guy, hard working guy. It's not going to take no shortcuts. I'm humble by all means, but when you feel like you was just done wrong, and when you go back, you have nothing to your name. But the people in Central Clemson know they appreciate us, and we love that. They tell us all the time that we're a big inspiration to their kids, or just the city in general. But I just feel like if the shoe was on the other foot, if we was like on another team or went to another high school, this would have been done. We'd have nothing to talk about.
Were you saying earlier Grady Jarrett has been celebrated in various ways at his former high school and all that?
Yeah, my best friend Grady Jarrett, man, he does wonderful things for Conyers, Georgia, and everything like that. He has his jersey retired, and he has a key to the city. And he has his own day, and it's like, he was a guy that made it out of there. But you have 4 guys that has done the same thing, and we don't have nothing.
You talked about how far back you 4 guys go. What's your earliest memory of those other 3 dudes?
Man, like, what's crazy is a lot of people don't, well, if you don't know, but the people that do know us, all 4 of us are cousins.
Okay, I did not know that.
It's like, yeah, so, man, we knew, like, I knew me and Nuke and Shaq, we grew up all together, but Jarvis, he was from Seneca, and then he came down across the bridge, and then he started playing here in Central. But yeah, all 4 of us are cousins. I didn't know Jarvis, my cousin, was my cousin until like a couple years ago. His pops told me. So it's just crazy how that all worked out. Like, you have 4 cousins that went to the same middle school, same high school, and now I went to the same college and now in the NFL. But yeah, we all had, that motivation of making it out. We seen a Vari Hamilton or a Terry Smith, a Jarvis Austin, a Love, a Chris McIntosh. The list goes on, man. All the great players that came through Daniel, and that motivated us because we wanted to be one of those guys to make it farther. Or I could say, like my uncle Jermaine Walker, like he was on my head ever since I was little about making it out because they wanted us to be better than them. And we saw, and when we worked out those summers at Daniel, we saw their pictures up on the wall of the state championships that they won, of their pictures in the weight room. Like, that gave us motivation, and goes back around. They don't have that for us. I know we didn't win the ring, but you got 4 guys that's in the NFL. Like, give these kids something to be motivated by.
I'm assuming all 4 of y'all played rec ball at Bolick Field?
Yep.
What's the most vivid memory for you from the rec football days when you think back to?
I'd probably say, when we knew DeAndre was special when he was little because he could throw like the football. He could throw the football like 80 yards in a rec. in regular,
that's like the whole field.
Yeah, so we like, wow, like he is special. But the most memorable, I just say, like, all, like, to me personally, is like all the connections that I still have with my coaches. They all played a big part in my life, and I still talk to them to this day.
I know DeAndre's hardships overcome growing up have been well documented, and so have Shaq Lawson's with his mother. I don't know if this is too personal, but can you share about what your life was like growing up? I think I read or saw an interview with you within the last year where you said your late aunt and your grandmother pretty much raised you.
Yeah, like my grandmother, her name is Frances Walker.
Mm-hmm.
My mom, she worked a lot of jobs, but had me at a young age, me and my sister, so she didn't really have time to raise us. So my grandmother, like, she did everything for us. She still stays in the same place she did since I was little. So she did, like, I call her my mom because, she dang near raised me my whole life. And still to this day, like, she can't go a whole day without calling me or just checking on me, see what I'm doing with me and my wife. So it's just, things like that, it kind of raises you different, like she installed like the hard work because, I seen her work hard and raise me, and I seen my mom work hard. And then I had siblings, Jermaine Walker, Jarvis Austin, Vari Hamilton, like guys like that succeeded in high school and won championships, and they pushed us to be, the players that we are now.
And then you lost your aunt within the last couple of years. Is that right?
Yeah, she died of cancer.
I'm sorry to hear that. She was pretty instrumental as well.
Yeah, she was big in the church. She pretty much was like the glue to the family. She just did a lot of great things and for our family. Then her passing, that kind of hurt.
And how about your father? I mean, Clemson fans obviously know his name. How much what was the relationship like there? How much how much was he in the picture growing up?
It was big because when I was little, I used to go to my grandfather's house, and I would like find these not cassette tapes, but these VCR tapes. And I'd be like, what are these? And I put it in as him playing, like when he played against Georgia or something like that. So it's like, wow. Like seeing like my dad, like people saying like, would tell me like, your dad, like he was a bad man. And then me, but like, I know because I seen the tapes. Like it was just crazy. But, you know, he installed hard work in me too, because he wanted me to be better than him. You know, he made it to the highest level, but he didn't finish it. So he's on me 24/7, you know, keeping my head on straight, always working hard, you know, just not messing up this opportunity that I have right now. But man, I love him to death. Our relationship is great.
He obviously had all the talent in the world and was super promising as a college player in his mind, I guess, from what he has shared with you. Why didn't he make it, I guess, for lack of a better phrase?
To be honest, I really think that injury, when he got hurt in the pregame versus, I think it was North Carolina State, when they wore the purple jerseys for the first time. I think that really messed him up because he was on to he was either going to be a top pick, you know, for running backs. You know, he won freshman of the year at Clemson, and the next year he had a good year. So things like that. But I'd probably say that messed up his mental a good bit. And then he went to the CFL and had a great career in the CFL. So either way you look at it, he played professional ball and did great at it.
So wait a minute. You referenced a game in 1991, right, when they wore the purple jerseys for the first time?
Mm-hmm. That's how much I studied. Like when I studied like his tapes, I know pretty much every player that was on that roster on defense and on offense. Like it was just crazy. Like I would just sit and just watch him. Like there's some players I can pick out. Like when he was on the poster. When they played Georgia, when he ran over Simmons, the linebacker for Georgia. And the next year they played him, they tried to make it a big story and say that they was trying to rub it in his face. Or the game-winning drive versus Georgia Tech when they gave him the ball like 5 straight times and he won the game. What else? It's a lot of stuff like DeShawn Cameron playing at quarterback. I think Larry Ryans, he was from Greenwood. He was a receiver. Then on that defense, you know, you got Von Kirkland, you got O'Neal, you got the D tackles, Burton and Buckner. Then you got Wayne Simmons. Like there's a lot of players on that defense that I know like by name because of me just watching.
Do you remember how old you were when it first dawned on you and you first started studying this stuff?
Probably like 5 or 6 because I played rec ball at 5 and I had to sign like a waiver because I was too young. So they're like, if I get hurt, I couldn't sue or whatever. But I'd probably say around like 5 or 6 because that's when I really started like watching his tapes. And I remember my grandfather telling me because I wasn't that good my first year. And then he told me, he said, watch, next year you're going to be so much better. And then it was like natural. It just came to me like naturally. And then he was right. And then I just got better and better and better like each year. So it was just crazy.
How many of those VHS tapes were there?
Oh, it was one versus Virginia, Georgia Tech, Georgia, 1990 and 91, South Carolina. When they played, I think in the Citrus Bowl, when they played Illinois. Mm-hmm. It was a lot of them. I watched all of them. Oh, when they played in Tokyo, when they played North Carolina. So yeah, I know all of them.
And your recruiting process, did you feel like all along that you were gonna go to Clemson or not?
Yeah, I did because it was just like a dream come true. Like I watched like all the games. Like when I got older, I watched like all the games. Like I watched a Brian Mance or I watched a Woodrow Dantzler. What's the running back? Number 8.
Zachary.
I watched him. A Justin Miller, Leroy Hill, a Gaines Adams, a Jamal Fudge, a Pugh. Like I watched all those guys, and I was like, and my dad went here. And it's like, how can I not? Like I'm in their backyard. Like how can I not take advantage of the opportunity? And I just hopped on it when they gave me that offer at the end of my sophomore year.
Who else offered you? And who else were you sort of seriously considering?
Oregon, North Carolina, LSU. But I already knew in my heart. I already knew in my heart was that it was Clemson all day. Like I was like, I'm born and raised in it. Like how can I not go?
And so did you redshirt in 2010? I'm sorry, or was 11 your true freshman year?
I did not redshirt. And we still talk about this to this day. I met with Swinney not too long ago, and I was like, imagine if Grady and I redshirted, we would have been playing. We would have been playing in that 2015 championship. So
they would have won that one.
Would have won that one because it's too many. Man, you got too many ballers on the D line. You got DJ Reader, Carlos, Shaq, myself, Grady. Kevin died. We had that great year, so it would have been a lot of old linemen would have had their hands full.
Christian Wilkins as well.
Mm-hmm.
And Reader was, I think he had been hurt, and he had just come back, I think. So he wasn't like full strength. I don't believe he was.
Yeah.
So your senior year at Daniel is 2010.
Yeah.
That's not a good year for Dabo in his second full season. I'm just curious, obviously Nuke had a good year that year, but still they're 6-7. Most of the opinion is like, I don't know if this Dabo guy is really cut out for this. Like, what did you see in him that gave you sort of the faith that he would be able to turn it around?
I just saw his vision. He told us, I remember he told us, he said the first year not going to always be what people think it's going to be, but shoot, it's right after 2011. That's when it all changed.
Yeah, right when you came in.
So it's like he didn't really miss too much. 2011, that class came in with Sammy, Martavius, Grady, myself, Adam Humphrey, Sharon Peake, guys like that, Stephon Anthony, Tony Stewart. That's a class in its own that. We started it what it is now.
So even though they did not have a good year in 10, you knew that the class that he was trying to hold together had the makings of something special.
Oh yeah, that class was too loaded. It was just crazy how he got all those guys. It was just ridiculous of how much talent, And what if a Mike Bellamy would have, would have had his head on straight and played a whole 3 or 4 years. Think of that.
Yeah.
Sheesh.
Do you remember the first glimpse you had of Sammy on the practice field in August of 2011 when you first said, this guy's different. This guy is the best player on the field.
Yeah, we knew he was different. Just, he was already bigger than any receiver. So that was wow. And then he was fast. So we how you that big and that fast? But it only took for the world to see his first touch versus Troy. And he did what he did. So it was crazy.
I guess you probably saw it during the workouts in July when y'all are out there on your own. You probably saw plenty of it.
Yeah, people saying that he's faster than him and he's beating him. So it's just what do you think? I mean, obviously the 11, y'all had a great start, but then sort of fell apart toward the end. And then I'm curious, looking sort of after that, what was the turning point in your mind as the program went from being really good to great? Was it that LSU Peach Bowl where you guys beat them when not many people expected you to? Yeah, that's the nail on the coffin. That's when everything did a full 360 turn for the program because, like you said, didn't nobody give us a chance, and only people that believed in Clemson. I'm pretty sure there was some Clemson fans that didn't think we were going to win either, but we just went in there and we wasn't going to take no crap, from nobody, no matter if you was an SEC school or a Big Ten school, anything like that. And we just went in and, DeAndre made that crazy catch on 4th and 16 and, and Catman made the kick, and next thing you know, Clemson's in the top 10 every year after that.
That's Venable's first year, 2012. I'm curious, the first visit that you sort of maybe the first meeting that he had with his defense, I guess a year earlier when he first got there. What was your first impression of him?
This guy is crazy, and everything we heard coming from a couple of Oklahoma guys was true. You know, he's always on edge. You never see him not doing nothing football. But I told Coach Sweeney this, like, you bringing him in is probably the best thing that ever happened to this program, because like he's like the foundation, like for that team. Like what he did when he first got there in 2012, you know, the defense wasn't that good then, but then it just slowly progressed. And then that 2014 defense, like, to me, I still feel like there's no better defense. I know it's some teams that won the championship, but you get that 2014 defense, like, and you put the numbers with anybody else, you'll see we're right there, number one.
What's with Kevin Steele? Why did things not work out with him as you look back, just sort of with all these years of hindsight?
To be honest, I don't know, because I was just a freshman. So I was young. I was just young, and things going fast when you're a freshman. You just trying to make it to class on time. So I really don't know like what really went wrong. But either way, it worked out for both parties. You know, he's doing real good at Auburn, being the DC, and you know, we got the top DC in Clemson, so it worked out.
Yeah, he's at Tennessee now.
Oh, at Tennessee. Yeah. Oh, okay.
You say Venables is crazy. That's your first observation. What do you mean by that?
It's just his motor is like, he's intense 24/7. Like, and it's not even like, I got a crazy D-line coach here and Bill Kolar, but Coach Venables is like you can stretch the wrong way and he'll get on you. Like, it's just like he's detailed. Like, but the thing is, like, when your coach is like a workaholic, he always works. That's just going to rub off onto his players. And it did. Like, I remember on my first meeting he had with us, and somebody asked, at the time when he first got there, he was like, do you think that we can be a good defense? And he looked us straight in the face. He was like, no, not right now, but you will be. And now look at him now. Every year he's in the top either one or two defenses in the nation end of the year.
Harris Flooring has been a major part of the facilities enhancements over at Clemson, not just with athletics, but also at the university level. And we are thrilled that they are a part of the Dubcast as a sponsor. Since 1947, the Jenkins family and Harris Flooring have provided a unique shopping experience through value in their services, developing the right product solutions, and delivering on their promises. To check out some reviews on their work, just go to their Facebook page, Harris Flooring America. Rave reviews, just first class all the way. Phone number 864-642-6183. Want to share a quick word about Founders Federal Credit Union? If you've been to a sporting event in Clemson, you've probably heard about Founders already. They are the official credit union partner of the Clemson Tigers. In addition to that, all Clemson faculty, staff, and students are eligible for membership, as well as IPTAY members. Matt Gross is a proud Clemson alum and the vice president for the Clemson market for Founders Federal Credit Union. Matt's office is located beside the Walmart Neighborhood Market on Old Greenville Highway in Clemson. For more information, go to foundersfcu.com. Another loyal supporter of the Dubcast is Blackacre Law Firm in Greenville, a subsidiary of Parham Smith and Archambault. Blackacre helps South Carolina residents achieve their dreams of home ownership by providing experienced professional representation for real estate closings. Attention to detail is crucial in real estate law. Blackacre is committed to making sure nothing gets by them preparing residential or commercial closings. Blackacre also offers estate planning services for their clients in the Greenville area. Find out more about Blackacre at 864-326-3507. Yeah, Kendall Joseph a few years ago told a story about how like on the Friday night before a game, you know, late at night, Venables is sending him clips, film clips. You know, he's still working. You know, he's still grinding away the night before a game, which is usually reserved for just sort of relaxing and not doing anything, right?
Yes, like with him, you can never not be too prepared. Like I can remember after practices my senior year, Grady and myself or Carlos, we'd be like doing extra, like running, and he'd have Stefan and Ben and Tony like doing extra, like I'm talking about like past the time, like. But when it get to the game time, you know, we are calling out every offensive plays, like, cause we know like we spent so much extra time and just doing the right things that, you know, that he just put towards us.
Yeah, the one example that stands out to me of his preparation is the 14 Louisville game when Quick, I think it was Quick who Curse chased down to the 2 or the 1 yard line or whatever.
Yeah. So what's crazy is that happened, and then people was in panic, but the players and coaches, nobody was in panic. So because we like prepared for that situation, because we watched I guess either the coach that was there, he coached at Western Kentucky or something like that. Yep. And Petrino. we watched film on Western Kentucky, and we was like, why are we watching this? Because he was like, he used to coach there, and if they get in the red zone, I believe they're going to do this. And then I'd be dang if that's not the play that they ran that we watched on film, because Korean Wiggins, he told me, he was like, if I didn't deflect the pass, he probably would have picked it off, because he was right there sitting on the route that the receiver ran.
Yeah, it was like a 2-point conversion play that Petrino had run at Western Kentucky.
Yeah.
That's wild. Are there any other memories similar to that where you just felt supremely prepared for exactly what was coming?
I'd probably say the South Carolina game, when we finally got that monkey off our back, when we won. Mm-hmm. He just pretty much like that week of practice was just like, you could tell like all that studying against every other team and all that hard work just like came together for that one last time for senior day. And you could see like he was like a proud father, like his kids are like putting it all together. And then when we did that day, like it was just special. Like we couldn't do no wrong on defense. Like we was just 3 and out, sack, turnover, another sack. They'd get down in the red zone, we'll shut them down on down. So it was just crazy.
And then after you had moved on, you know, when I guess it was when Clemson won the championship over Alabama, you probably remember, you know, Ben Boulware's pointing out where the play is going to be toward the end of that game. I guess that was probably a pretty satisfying moment for even you guys who had moved on.
Yep. Because Ben always been, you know, the smart guy, you know, the hardworking, the the crazy one. Like if I could say if there was a player that resembles Venables, I could say Ben.
What do you think? Talking about how, you know, supremely prepared Venables is of late, like in the last year, it seems like every now and then story comes up of opposing teams saying he's stealing signals and things like that. I'm sure you've seen that. What's your take on that?
I just say, man, stop complaining. Like, ain't nobody stealing no signals, because if you know Venables, he's not even looking at the sideline. Like, Venables is focused. Like, sometimes Venables get the call late because he's trying to scan everything on the field. Like, okay, what formation it is, what down the distance, okay. He ain't got to steal no signals. They just, you know, a lot of people are really just mad because of a little town in Clemson, you know, they're having success, and a lot of people don't like it.
I think you kind of hit it, like his sort of, I guess, strength is having the last word on each play, waiting until the very last minute, and then getting his play in based on formation and personnel and all that, as opposed to waiting on some of his, I guess, analysts to try to, you know, steal a signal. But even if they were doing that, like, I don't really see. I mean, isn't it your job to come up with signals that can't be stolen? You know, like, I don't know. It doesn't really make a whole lot of sense to me as far as it being like a kind of a shady tactic. I mean, anyway. It might take us an hour to talk about this, but can we talk about your NFL journey?
Yeah, we got all day.
So, I mean, how many times have you been cut?
Yeah, so overall total been cut 10 times.
Wow.
So it can be gut wrenching sometimes, but I guess like they always say, hard work pays off, and I just never got discouraged, because I have a family that's counting on me. I have a beautiful wife that pushed me each and every day. When times did get hard, and she just told me that I am good enough to play. And then it's crazy. 2020, I got the opportunity, and I think I just ran with it. I just happy to play football.
Can you recite each of the stops you have made and each of the cuts that have been made, over the last?
Oh yeah, nobody in my family loves camp time, because you never know what's gonna happen. Man, it's just the unknown. I think that's the tough part, because you don't know what's going. You don't know what they think upstairs.
Mm-hmm.
But you can do everything right, and they want to go a different route. I didn't heard everything under the sun. It's not you. We need a position, help at another position, or the room is just crowded. Things like that. But I never had a GM or a coach say you just can't play in the NFL. I never had. So I never heard that. So that's why I know I can play.
Mm-hmm. All right, can we go through the play-by-play of each team and each cut and all that?
So my rookie year, 2015, I got cut, at the end of camp at Cincinnati. That was 2015. So my second year, 2016, I made the team. So I guess what they do, or whatever team does, when you make the team, don't nobody call you. So my wife and I, during that time in 2016, during the camp, I would check my phone every 2 seconds, and we'd be like, did they call? Nope. Did they call? Nope. And then when the deadline passed and I didn't get a call, and she looked at the roster and my name was on it, that was a sigh of relief, because it's wow, you made it. You actually made it to the NFL on the roster, and you're going to be playing. So that's a wonderful feeling. And then 2017, I got cut at the end of camp in Cincinnati. Then I said, excuse me. So I said I'm going to bet. So I said I'm going to bet on myself 2018 and go to a different team. I appreciate Cincinnati for giving me the opportunity. But I went to Denver, and I felt like it was a fresh new start that I needed. I had a great camp. That's probably by far one of the best camps that I feel like I had playing football. And it came to the last cut, and they picked me, but I signed back on the practice squad, and then I got let go. And then this is still 2018. I didn't hear nothing for 6 weeks, and then I got signed to Miami. And then I was there for 6 or 7 weeks, and it was great because I had Andre Branch, a brother that was with me at Clemson his senior year, my freshman year. So he kind of took me under his wing, and then Stephon was there too. So I had 2 Clemson guys that looked out for me, and then they let me go on my wife's birthday.
Oh wow!
So that was tough, And then I think 2 weeks later. 2 or 3 weeks later, that it may be, Indy called. And then I signed there, and then that locker room was great. Coach Rich is a great coach, man. That team that they have, with Darius Leonard, he's great. Finding out that he's a Clemson diehard fan, even though he went to South Carolina State, and we kind of bonded. It was great, and then I finished with them, and then I got let go of phase 2 of OTAs in 2019. Then came back, then came back home. Then Carolina Panthers is about to sign me, so I'm on the plane getting ready to go, and then Denver calls, and they said, "Hey, somebody wants to speak to you." Then the D-line coach, Bill Kohler. He said, "Hey, what you doing?" I said, "I'm about to get on the plane and go to Carolina." He said, "Oh," and then he handed the phone to them, and they was like, hey, well, we want you to sign back with us. And I was like, well, I don't know how that's going to happen because I'm like literally on the plane. Like they have shut the doors. We're about to get on the runway. And then my agent called and was like, hey, what you want to do? And he said, I'm going to leave it up to you. You got like 2 minutes. Then my gut was just telling me, go back to Denver because, we got a place here. My wife is coaching volleyball. So I was like, I'm going to Denver. So I had to get the pilot.
No way.
I had to get the pilot and tell him, hey, I know this sounds crazy, but I just signed with Denver and I need to get off this plane. He was
Turn
like,
the plane around. God.
I was like, yeah, if you can I get off the plane? He was like, yeah, I do it. And then I looked at everybody in the back that was on the plane and I told them, I said, hey, I just got a call from Denver and they want to sign me. And I'm sorry if you will miss your connected flight, but I have to get off this flight. And then some people was like, but some people were genuinely happy for me. So they was like, oh, congrats. So I get off there. I'm sprinting back to my car. No, my wife dropped me off. So I'm calling her. And she was like, I knew something was going to happen because she didn't leave. She never leaves until I take off. So we had to go back, drive all the way to the facility, and I signed. And then I end up getting cut that year, the last cut. That's when they had a new coaching staff with Vic Fangio and his staff. And then I didn't hear nothing for a year. And then I was about to go to Calgary. And then August, boom, Denver calls again. It was like, hey, we want to sign you back. And I'm like, do I want to do this again? Y'all did this last year and it didn't end good. But I was like, you know what? Third time's a charm. Why not? And I just said, I'm just going to let the chips fall where they may. I'm going to play stress-free. And I end up getting cut. But with the COVID rules, you can have, I think, 16 guys on practice squad and a veteran. So they told me, hey, you're cut, but we're going to bring you back. And then after week two, I'm playing my first game versus Tom Brady.
Wow.
And then after that game, I'm starting. And then I'm starting for 14 weeks. And it's just crazy, man. I can literally write a book about it.
And you got an interception, right?
Yep. Yes, sir.
So so you said your wife coaches volleyball? Is that high school or?
Yeah, she coaches high school at Rock Canyon High School. It's a big high school. If you look at Daniel now, that's how all these schools kind of here in Colorado. They're huge. But yeah, she's a coach, volleyball coach at Rock Canyon, and she does club, a team called 303. But yeah, she just loved volleyball, man. When I first met her, she was a volleyball player, but she just loved giving back to the kids and just sharing her knowledge of the game that she learned from great coaches that she had in high school and college.
What has this roller coaster for you been like for her?
To be honest, me, going through it, you just try to be tough. But then, cut after cut after cut, you start to see it really affect the ones around you because they know what type of player you are and what type of talent you have. And they know that deep down you can play. And once you see the discouraged, in their face, it's then it starts to set in, it's like a letdown after letdown. And then this year, it's been a whole, it's crazy. It's just you can't really, we don't really know what just happened, for me to go out there not playing and then now I'm playing and just contributing, it's just crazy, man. Yeah.
So when you hear people say 2020 sucked, you're like, not for me.
No, not for me. Either 2020, it helped you or, it kind of messed you up, but it for dang sure helped us and my family.
What was the lowest point during that whole time of getting cut and all that? Was there one?
I'd probably say not hearing nothing for a year. And then when I signed to go play ball in Canada, they didn't make a decision on either it was going to be a season or not. Like, they strung that for like 5 months. Like, all right, it's going to be a season. All right, the drop date of us coming to this decision is da-da-da. And then then the date will come, and then they'll push it back. So just, like, not knowing, like, is there going to be a season was probably, like, because, like, you kind of, like, teeter-tottering with people, like, lives. Like, because football, to some, is, like, that's all we know. You know, that's all we good at. And that's all we want to do. And then you keep telling us, all right, we're gonna give a date on to make a decision on if there's a season. Then when you don't, it's like people just, like, fed up, and then, you know, you just start taking matters in your own hands.
At any point, have you thought about, or did you think about, like, okay, maybe I have to think about plan B, meaning a plan that doesn't involve football? Like, what do you think you're going to do or would do without football? Yeah,
like, a lot of people don't know this besides my close family, but I had to get a job. Like, I had to work for a good period of time, you know, just to make, like, just to, you know, get by, or just to provide for the house. Cause my wife, she doesn't coaching. She's doing coaching. She's doing everything she had to do. And then I'm just sitting in the house like, all right, now they're going to call, and then they're going to call, and then no call. And then now it's like reality sits in, like, all right, you haven't heard nothing, and what you want to do. And I had to do something that was out of my comfort zone. I had to go get a job and work. And then I'm glad that I went through that, because it prepared us for the success that we had in 2020.
What did you do?
I was with Amazon, you know, delivering packages.
Mm-hmm. So,
yep.
Like driving a van?
Yep.
So y'all were still in Denver for that year, right?
Yes, sir.
Gotcha. What's that like when you have to, when you go from trying to live the dream to then, you know, you're just a guy delivering packages.
It's definitely a humbling experience, but it also made me not waver my faith, because, you know, it's just, I felt like God was just like, if you really trust me and you believe in me, you got to go through this to get to where you want to be at right now. And just appreciate the small things, like it's just crazy. Like, I just like you say, going to, like, me putting on this uniform of being the guy. And then now you just, now you just clocking in each and every day, like clocking in hours. And now it's like, it's just crazy, man. Like, I would have never thought somebody would have been like, you know, like, your journey for this NFL, you're going to be working at Amazon, delivering packages. I'm like, ain't no way. And then now I'm doing it. But I'm so happy that I did go through it. Looking back at it now, because, like I said, I just appreciate the little things, like, you know, grabbing your helmet, putting it on, you know, driving to the facility every day, driving by, like, looking at, like, oh, I can't wait to the next season because I have another opportunity. Like, just the things like that, like, just seeing the look on my family face of them happy for me and my teammates, because they know my story too as well, and them being happy for me. Like, it's just like an honor.
How much of a contributor was that to your play? Like, did it make you more relentless, more determined? Did it make you a better player?
For sure. Like, I feel like, because I feel like I do not want to go back to doing that. And I'm not trying to discredit nobody that's done it, because now I went through their shoes. Like, I know what you have to go through. Like, and I appreciate everything where everybody that has to clock in and do a 9 to 5 and work. And that just makes me, when I go out there, like, I get emotional, like, every Sunday, because I was working on Sundays while NFL teams was playing. So when it'd be a game day, I'd be like, wow, I was working. Like, I was literally, like, clocking in, going to work, missing every NFL game, working, just trying to make ends meet. And then now, like, I'm playing, like, I'm living out my childhood playing on Sundays, and it's just crazy.
Do you remember Antoine McLean? I mean, do y'all know each other? Still
Yep,
keep in
I know
touch?
him. Yeah, I know him. Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you're familiar with his story. I think I had him on last summer, and he was saying something very similar. He was with the Cardinals, got cut, and found himself as he was waiting. He was, I want to say, he was loading FedEx planes at the airport. I want to say, I could be getting that wrong, but basically he was loading boxes for a shipping company during his interim, time trying to figure stuff out when he was waiting on a call from a team.
Yeah, it's like a lot of people don't like really know like the true like what really goes on. Like, you can be playing one year, or say like an undrafted free agent that thinks like he done everything right and then get cut and then don't hear nothing for a year or two. Like that, that's like it sucks. But I think it just built me to the player that I am now and the person that I am and the husband that I am. Like, it just makes me appreciate every little thing, like just waking up, working out, going to the facility, spending time with my wife when I'm done working out, talking to my mom or my grandma, talking to my cousins like Shaq and Jarvis and DeAndre, like things like that, just like enjoying my teammates, like just stuff like that.
You know how Dabo seems to savor every aspect of his job and life, like every day is a great day, and you wonder where that comes from. I wonder if that's from his hardship that he's experienced and just loving the, blooming where he's planted, I guess, as he says.
For sure.
You see the connection there?
Mm-hmm, for sure. Like, because, what he went through to get to where he is now, and you going through that really makes you appreciate, like I'm telling you, that makes you appreciate everything, like, because it can be taken away from him just like that. So you got to be grateful for every little thing. I don't care if it's as small as, somebody just giving you like praise for what you did, or somebody giving you a signing bonus. You just happy for every little thing, because what you've been through definitely humbles you, but also gives you that hunger to not go back.
College football is a lot different now than when it was when you were playing, in the form of the transfer portal. Players can transfer without having to sit a year. There's also the name, image, likeness thing that's coming up that's going to allow them to be, I guess, like sponsored by car dealerships and things like that. How closely have you paid attention to this, and how different does it look to you? And do you have any opinions on how different it is?
Yeah, for sure. Like, I know a lot of universities, like not just Clemson, but a lot of like universities are experiencing like players are just transferring left and right because they're not getting what they thought that they was promised. And then I just feel like, well, heck, if that was the case, I could have transferred a long time ago, because in our D-line room, it was Grady, myself, Josh Watson, Carlos, and DJ all fighting for just 2 spots a week just to start. And did not one of us ever look at each other like, man, we're going to transfer.
Right.
Like, I'm sick or not. Like, no, we just busted our butt every week in practice. We pushed each other every spring, summer workouts, and it made us better, because if we willing to do all that work and pay the price in practice, the games are going to be easy. I'm saying Coach Brooks wouldn't let nobody know who's starting until kickoff. You wouldn't know like who was starting, and then that makes the player the guys that's in the NFL who we are now, because when you get to the NFL, everybody's talented, but what's going to set you apart? And I feel like our work ethic, I always hunger to be great. It's not going, just because we're in the NFL, we're not going to start working as hard as we did we was in college.
So it sounds like you are not a big fan of the much freer player movement, having tons of players in the portal, leaving at the first sign of, I guess, adversity. It sounds like you prefer maybe the more traditional way of working your way up the ladder and sacrificing and all that.
Like, don't get me wrong. Like, some guys like sometimes some guys do need to transfer because, you're not going to play. You know what I mean? But there are some kids that just take like the easy way out and just think that they're going to transfer, and then they find out that they probably not going to play at that school, so they transfer to another school. And then now you just transfer it out. Like, you just transferred out of college because you're just wasting all your years just transferring. You're not playing. So I just feel like just stick it out. Like, you never know what can happen. Somebody can get hurt. Like, we don't want that to happen, but somebody can get hurt, and you just take advantage of your opportunity. Like, I just feel like kids now, like, they just want the easy things. Like, well, this coach was recruiting me, and they promised me I was going to do this and that. And then you come across a 3-star, 2-star that's willing to do whatever to get on the field, and he's going to play, because when it's time for college, like, yeah, it looked good when you say I recruited all these 5-star guys, but when it's time to play, the coaches are going to put the best players that's on the field. So it don't matter which star you are.
It kind of makes sense that when highly regarded players are worshipped in high school during the recruiting process, and then that worship stops once August camp starts and life gets hard, it's natural for some of these guys, or a lot of these guys, man, the recruiting process, that was the glory days. Like, you're getting called by reporters every night asking you what you're doing. Oh my gosh, can you give us your top 10? You're going to trim it to 5. And it's like you're a celebrity. And so it only follows that then you have a bunch of guys jumping into the portal again so they can have that, they can be a sensation again. People are actually interested in what they, what they might be planning on doing.
Yeah, people like Coach Rob always told me, man, he was like, you're never working as hard as you think you are. So you in high school, you might be the hardest working guy. But now you about to cross over to college, and you got 90 other guys that just work just as hard as you to get to where you at. So you got to do something, like, you got to willing to put in the work. And then I feel like some kids now are just not, like you said, they just want to stars. They just want to be in the highlight of, hey, I'm going to such and such college, and then they don't want to put the real work in.
What about the name, image, likeness that'll allow players to profit off their likeness, whether it's like sponsorships on the internet, YouTube, whatever, or car dealerships, things like that?
Yeah, I think it was long overdue, but I'm glad it's not just college football. I'm glad it's all sports, women and men sports, because a lot of people, they probably say, oh, you're privileged, you get a free scholarship. But a lot of these kids, they go to colleges that's like thousands of miles away from their family, so they don't really have no money, things like that. So I done seen plenty of times where a guy, he's from Florida or somewhere like that, and he can't get no money for food. So, the teammates have to, like, scrape up some money, just to help out, or, you know what I mean? So that's like, I'm glad that rule has changed, and people that's in athletic sports can get paid for their likeness.
DeShawn, is there anything we haven't talked about? Anything back to the Daniel stuff that we haven't covered that you might want to say, or we pretty much covered it all?
No, that's it.
Well, hey, thank you so much for sharing so much of your time. I know you're busy, but I really appreciate catching up with you.
No problem. I appreciate you.
All right, thanks to DeShawn Williams for joining us. Pretty spur of the moment yesterday. Man, that is just a wild story about him telling the airline pilot to turn around and let him out the plane so he could stay in Denver to sign his contract. Great stuff. Appreciate our loyal sponsors for the support of the podcast. Could not do it without them. Also could not do it without all of you listening. So really appreciate that. Everybody have a great weekend, and we'll be back next week. Cheers.